welcome to a webinar series presented by TDS Health. My name is Jenna, and today we'll be taking a look at one of our resources called StatPearls and their solutions for practicing nurses. I have a quick little topic agenda here. We'll start out with some welcome and introductions. We'll take a look at the StatPearls product learning environment, discuss their collaboration with the ANA, discuss the available content that they have available for practicing nursing, and then also do a brief product demonstration. So to get us started, a welcome and introduction. Like I said, my name is Jenna. I'm a member of the TDS Health Customer Engagement team, and I support with things like promotion, training, implementation. And then today we'll be taking a look at StatPearls. For some of you, StatPearls may be something you're familiar with, and for others, this may be brand new. StatPearls, their motto is "Content is King," and they are a learning platform that incorporates various different types of content, one of them being a question bank tool. They also have a large collection of peer-reviewed articles, a point-of-care tool, and then some access to some continuing education resources as well. So having an ecosystem with all of those elements in one place, making it easy for users to see all of that in one cohesive environment. StatPearls recently established a collaboration and partnership with ANA, so the American Nurses Association, and this allows the ANA to be involved in reviewing the StatPearls content to make sure it's up to date and serving that population best. We will be taking a look at 3 different elements. In here today, we'll take a look at the certification banks, the continuing education tool, as well as the point of care tool. I want to call out that we have a variety of different certification banks available within StatPearls. And I'll quickly switch my screen over to a handout so I can show you those just to give you a little bit of an idea of what we're working with. Alrighty, so what you'll see on my screen right now is a handout that we have that lists out some of the certification banks available from StatPearls as it relates to registered nurse certification. There are upwards of 70 certification banks in StatPearls. This list, I believe, is comprehensive about 30 to 40, so if you're not seeing something you're interested in, on this list, there is a chance we have it, but just wanted to give you all an idea of the breadth of the content that we have and show you some of the more popular certification banks that we have clients using right now for their nursing team, department, in-services, things like that. I'm going to go ahead and pop over to the StatPearls product so I can give you all a little bit of an idea of how this product looks and how it works. So what you'll see right here is my StatPearls dashboard. This is going to look the same for all users when they access the content. They have a dashboard that they're able to review. And I want to start out with this search bar here in the center. And this is going to be that point of care search tool that is available in here. And so because this ecosystem has the question bank, the continuing education, the articles, it just made sense to have a point of care tool in here for those to look around, do some searching while they're already in here utilizing the other elements of the product. So you do have the search bar in here that you can make searches for regarding drugs, diseases, procedures, etc. Let's take a look at the question banks. So as you saw in that handout, we have a variety of different certification banks for nurses. I'll go ahead and open up our quiz builder, which is where the user can build themselves a quiz. I have myself set in the critical care registered nurse bank, so the CCRN bank, but you'll notice if I hit this little drop down, I have access to all the different banks in here. So if you subscribe to multiple banks, they will be in here, so you can pick and choose which one you would like to focus on. And then from here in this quiz builder, we can create a custom quiz that we'd like to complete from within this bank. So we have some options in here to take a quiz in either a study or a test mode. Study mode allowing us to see answers and explanations as we go, where a test mode, we see those at the end after we submit. We've got a question mode where we can isolate out questions that are remaining that we have not seen. We can look at all the questions or specifically those we got incorrect. And then we can also make some additional selections based on difficulty level, age range, as well as some topics, sciences. We can search for keywords or phrases, and then also a topic search, which corresponds with the large collection of articles that we have in here, which we'll take a look at in a moment. For example's sake, I'm going to go ahead and just do a general quiz in here and just do a little one question quiz across all the topics and create and take my quiz. Now, I am in that study review mode, so I can look at answers and explanations as I go. And so you'll see as I submit within this quiz, I can go until I get this answer correct. I'll then be written out, I'll receive a teaching point, which will tell me some of the key takeaways of that question. I'll get some insight into how others answered. This is other users of this bank, not just your institution, as well as it will link out to that topic article we have and then that corresponding PubMed reference. You'll also notice up here on the top right-hand side that you'll see when this question was last updated, as well as the corresponding authors and editors. And you can hover over and see the contributor profile of to who that author and editor is and what their specialty and focus is. So once we submit our little one question quiz, we'll be given a little scorecard here, which will tell us how we did. If we were in that test mode, this is where we'd start to kind of see how we did on that quiz as we didn't get that info as we were taking it. And then also we have a quiz transcript, and this will give you some additional insight into the different topics you were tested on, whether you got that answer right or wrong, the difficulty level, and then what that question is tagged to, whether that is the systems, clinical science, the different topics that it's associated with. And you get this breakdown for every single quiz that you create. Once we complete that quiz, we can hit this return to user dashboard, which will take us back to our dashboard where we can look at all of our quizzes. This is my list of created quizzes, which will list out the quizzes you've completed, maybe the ones you've created haven't started, the ones that you have in progress. So all of those are available for your review to go back and look at your results. You also have a performance tab available, which this will build out over time as you answer questions in here. And so what you can see is over time, you'll build out this performance ranking. It'll let you know how you're doing in comparison to others who are utilizing this question bank as well. And then lastly, down here at the very bottom, you have the ability to generate a detailed report of the breakdown of different sciences. So you're able to really pull out of all of those quizzes, kind of that transcript breakdown you get at the end of each one. This pulls a collective one, looking at all the different quizzes you've completed and maybe which areas you need a little bit more help in, and then those that you might be doing really well in and might not need to review as much. And that is essentially how the question bank element of StatPearls works. There is also an administrative portal in here as well. So if you are an administrator of a department, or if you have a new grad program and you want to start having them look at some certification content, you are actually able to assign quizzes like the one we just created to user groups. So if you want them to complete that for an in-service or in preparation for something that you have going on at your facility, you are able to actually assign them content and then look at overall usage, performance, and all those great details. I want to quickly pop into the articles as we talked about that briefly before. Like I said, there is a large collection of peer-reviewed articles in here that you have access to be able to review. You'll also notice as I pull up this articles list that we have quiz questions that correspond to each one of these articles. And so these are the number of quiz questions that are in your bank that relate particularly to this article itself. So you can read the article, take the quiz, or take the quiz and then refresh your knowledge with the article after. All of these articles that we have in here, you are able to open up and they will give you, again, those breakdowns of the author, editor, details as to when it was last updated. And if we scroll all the way down to the very bottom of this article, you'll see where we have those PubMed references that link directly out. And then also you'll notice that we have an evidence scoring system in here for those who are really looking and place value on having evidence-based research. So those are available for your review here as well. The last component that I wanted to take a look at is the continuing education offerings within StatPearls. And so if we hover over the article section and look at this CE area, you'll see that I have completed, in progress, and I have a course list. If I open up the course list, you'll see that I have myself selected for the ANCC for nurses, and then I have all the different CE activities that are available here in StatPearls. You can also select here and look for a particular specialty or an area of focus that you are looking for CE content. Those are available to be more specific in here as well. And then for each CE activity, you'll have a title, a brief description, the number of hours, and then the number of questions you'll be expected to take after completing the activity. And so what you can see in here is we can open up one of the activities and it will give us some information as to what we are about to take. You'll see the number of credits you'll receive, the number of questions you'll be expected to take, some start dates, some review dates, expiration dates, and the amount of time it's expected for this to take you. You'll see this Start Activity tab here. That's where we'd be able to start the activity, but I did want to point out some details in the activity description. This will give you a breakdown as to what the activity is and what the topic of interest is. You also have some details here as to who the target audience is for those who are taking these CE activities. You'll have some learning objectives as well as a disclosure with some details about the authors, editors, anyone who's reviewed the content, all of that. And then also you'll have the accreditation information, but I want to point out specifically this method of participation and credit. So you'll see that there are 5 steps to receiving credit and participation for this activity. You need to register for the activity, review the page that we're on right now that talks about the target audience, objectives, and the disclosure information. You'll then review the content, the article, the material that it provides you to be able to then answer the test questions after the fact. You will need to receive 100% to get the certificate. And so you'll notice when you take that, that if you answer something incorrectly, it's going to repopulate the question until you're able to get those answers correct. And then the last step is going to be completing a post-activities assessment survey that we have in here for our records. So that is a little bit about the CE activities and how they work. I'll go ahead and start this activity just to show you all what they look like, because you'll notice that it's going to look very similar to the articles we looked at, the quiz questions we looked at, and therefore it makes it a really easy system with the ecosystem being so similar, so someone is not having to refamiliarize themselves when they look at different topics. So if we hit start this activity, we're going to immediately be brought to this article. We're able to review, again, all those details over here on the right-hand side, and we're able to review this before completing the test questions. So again, I'll scroll all the way down. You'll have those references that again link out here, and I can hit this self-assessment when I'm ready to take those quiz questions. From here, you'll see that I have my quiz question and I'm able to submit an answer. And again, if I get that answer wrong, it's going to give me some teaching points and some details. When I hit my next question, it's going to prompt me to go back and complete that question until I get it correct. Once you complete all of these questions correctly, you'll then be able to produce the certificate showing you've completed the activity. Just to show you a little bit about that, what that looks like, if I go back to my dashboard, you'll see that we were in the course list of activities that are available for CE in here. I have my in progress area, which will show that activity that we were just working on here at the top. And then in my completed, this is where any of the certificates that you've completed, any of the courses that are done, you're able to go back and review the content as well as show the certificate if you need to produce that. That is a brief walkthrough of all the components of StatPearls as it relates to practicing nurses at this time. Again, if you are not looking for content related to your practicing nurse team, if you're looking for other material, other disciplines, other specialties, StatPearls has a lot of different banks, a lot of different CE options, and a lot of different content. So if this is not something that pertains to you and you need to look for something that is, please let us know and we'll be able to help you. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn a little bit more about StatPearls and listen to me review. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thanks again for stopping in. Bye.